Oh, Bill's Angela.
She'll be here, or Danae will be her father's heavy.
Can we move forward? Thank you. I'll call this meeting of the Owensboro Board of Commissioners to order and ask our acting city clerk, Sherry Gerton, to please call the roll.
Commissioner Bob Glenn.
Here.
Commissioner Debbie Nunley.
Here.
Mayor Ron Payne.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeff Sanford.
Here.
Commissioner Pam Smith Wright.
Here.
Thank you. All present. Given the fact that we've got a few Boy Scouts here that I'm going to introduce later that are working on their citizenship badge, as we go through this meeting, I'm going to talk a little bit about, as I have in the past, the process we go through. The first thing we do at each one of these meetings is roll call, and that's required by state statutes that we do that. The next thing we do is we do an invocation and the pledge to the flag, which I'm sure all three of those Boy Scouts back there know by heart. So with that, I'll ask our city manager to please lead us in our invocation and the pledge.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll ask you to join me in prayer or silent meditation as may be your personal practice and faith. Father God, we recognize your lordship in our community, and we thank you for the protection we've received from the weather. Father, it's been hot this summer, it's been wet, and we had storms last night. We know the weather is beyond man's control, but we thank you that we're safe here in this part of our community. But Father God, we do lift up our brothers and sisters in eastern Kentucky who have been ravaged by floodwaters, Father. We pray, Lord, that they have seen loss of life and property, that their hearts will be mended, you'll be comforting of them. Father, you'll heal them. We pray protection for Owensboro, Father, continued protection for all of our citizens. Lord, I lift up our police and fire and public works crews who work out in traffic and in dangerous situations. I pray for their protection. I pray for this nation and our democracy, lifting up our president, the members of the Congress, our governor and the legislature. And Lord, I lift up this commission. I pray for their wisdom and judgment, that your hand would guide them. And Lord, we always lift up our military, serving on foreign shores, that you would protect them, keep them safe, and bring them home to their families. It's in Christ's name that I pray, Lord. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioners, before we get to our business items, I would like to introduce these young gentlemen that we have with us here tonight. We have some Boy Scouts from First Presbyterian Church, is that correct, that are working on their merit badge for citizenship with the community. They are Nace Mattingly, you guys please stand, Myers Walker, and Brian Winkler. And with them is their supervisor, Lisa Winkler. Lisa, stand up and be recognized, guys. It is great to have you here tonight. Thank you for coming. I might point out as we go through this agenda again, as I've indicated, it's very formalized. We are governed by Robert's Rules of Order. No one speaks unless they are recognized by the mayor. Under our form of government, we operate under the city manager plan, which this city commission acts like a board of directors in the corporate world. The mayor is the chairman of the board, and then we have 4 other commissioners who are members of this board. It is our job to run this city, but we don't do it on a day-to-day basis. This city commission appoints a city manager, who basically is the chief operating officer. He selects and supervises all of the employees in this community. And I got to tell you, since 1954, this form of government has worked very, very well for this city. In fact, not too long ago, I had the mayor of Evansville over here, and he was questioning why we were able to get so much done in the city of Owensboro. He was having some challenges in his community, and I said one of the reasons was our form of government. And again, I commend our forefathers for moving to this form. With that, we will move to the first order of business, which is to consider approval of our minutes of our meetings dated July 7th and July 14th. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
So
Motion.
moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussions, corrections, comments from anyone? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Mayor Payne,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Wright.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item is board appointments, Commissioners. First is to the Owensboro Riverport Authority Board. As we're all aware, Mike Riney served on that board, and Mike recently passed away, so it is necessary that we replace him. I am recommending we appoint Larry Condor to fill the remainder of a term expiring September 9th, 2016. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any comments, questions by anyone? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Mayor Payne,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Wright,
Aye.
Commissioner Glenn.
Yes.
Motion passes. And I might point out that Larry is here tonight. Larry, thank you so much for being willing to serve on this board and also all the things you do for our community. Next is to the Audubon Area Community Services Board of Directors to appoint Danielle Woodward to fill the remainder of a term expiring December 31st, 2016. Do we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion is second. Any comments, questions by anyone? I believe this is to fill, Keith, I believe you're coming off that board. And so because you're retiring, and wish you well there, but it's necessary for us to fill your term on that board. With that, I'll call for the vote.
Mayor Payne,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Wright,
Aye.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley.
Yes.
Motion passes. The next item is our ordinances. I might point out that our ordinances by state law require us to have 2 readings. The first reading, we don't vote on the ordinance, but it can be discussed, and it usually is by this Board of Commissioners, and also we receive or give the community the opportunity to give us feedback or comments about whatever ordinance is being proposed at that time. Now, tonight, we have no ordinances for second reading. We only have those that we're going to read for the first time, which means we will not vote on these ordinances tonight, but we will at our next meeting. So with that, Counselor, the first one.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. First ordinance is Ordinance 23-2015, an ordinance closing a 10-foot wide public way located approximately 174.11 feet south of the northwest corner of the property owned by the Housing Authority of Owensboro, as described in Deed Book 706, page 758. Said public way to be closed, running roughly east 161.11 feet, then roughly south 10 feet, then roughly west 161 feet, then roughly north 10 feet to the point of beginning, and containing approximately 1,610 square feet, or 0.037 acres. Introduced and publicly read on first reading this 21st day of July, 2015.
Very good. Again, we can discuss. We will not vote. And it looks like, Counselor, that the Housing Authority owns the property surrounding this alley. Is that correct?
That is correct, Mayor.
So they would be the only ones that would be concerned with this closing. Any questions by anyone on the commission? Anyone in the public? Next item, Counselor.
Ordinance 24-2015, an ordinance closing the 50-foot right-of-way known as Vista Point from its intersection with Villa Point to its termination point near Horse Fork Creek. Introduced and publicly read on first reading this 21st day of July, 2015.
All right, Commissioner, or Counselor, somebody, Bill, you want to explain what's going on here?
Yes, Mayor, this is a right-of-way closure on the east side in support of a local business. You annexed this property on June the 16th. The right-of-way is off of Villa Point Drive. It is a paved and unpaved piece of property that is a drive known as Vista Point Drive. It splits Don Moore Chevrolet from the business to the west. This will allow expansion by Don Moore Chevrolet of part of its business activity to the west into that parking lot, allowing them to move cars there. They will be granting a perpetual easement to the owners of the property adjacent to them. All of those adjacent property owners have agreed This will save the city maintenance costs in the future. We'll not have to repave that road or take care of the dirt grass area. The staff therefore recommends this option.
Very good. Any questions of staff in regards to this issue? Anyone in the public? Question? Okay. Again, we won't vote on this tonight, but the next meeting. Next item, Counselor.
Ordinance 25-2015, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Article 1, Section 3-8 of the Owensboro Municipal Code to permit the retail sale of alcoholic beverages during the hours of any primary or regular local option or special election day. Introduced and publicly read on first reading this 21st day of July, 2015.
Very good. Thank you, Counselor. Commissioners, I think I've touched base with all of you about this. I'm not even sure. I guess this was done years and years and years ago. Somebody said it's when the polling places were in the bars. And, of course, times have changed, and really there is no need for us to do this any longer. The General Assembly recognized that, and they give us they've given us the authority to abolish this requirement that we close or prohibit alcohol sales during the various elections. It's confusing to the restaurant owners and others. So again, seeing that there's no practical reason to do it, I'm recommending to this commission that we go ahead and amend that ordinance to eliminate this prohibition. Any comments by anyone?
I just have one quick clarification.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
So this still imposes a restriction on packaged liquor sales. This is only by the drink that would be allowed, or vice versa. Both are allowed?
Yes. This would
So
allow both.
I could go to Kroger and buy a six-pack during election hours once this is passed, or liquor by the drink at the convention
That's
center.
correct.
Not having a wedding.
That's
Okay,
correct.
so it covers both. Okay.
That's right. So you got Kroger's not having to cover their alcohol
Yeah, the tarp.
or whatever during a 6-hour period, 7-hour period. It just
So
doesn't.
both are allowed. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyone else? Any comments? Anyone? Okay. Next item, Counselor.
Ordinance 26-2015, an ordinance annexing to the city of Owensboro certain unincorporated territory in the county of Davis, adjoining the present boundary line of the city, being property located at 2900 Kentucky Highway 54, Gateway Commons Development, containing 190.468 acres, more or less, introduced and publicly read on first reading this 21st day of July, 2015.
Very good. This is, if you would, the second first reading of this ordinance. There was a minor change. Mr. Ray, would you explain why we're going through this again?
Thank you, Mayor. Ed Ray, City Attorney. The slight alteration, less than 1 acre, that has been taken out of the annex zone along 54, just to redefine our objective of the Gateway Commons development. So no substantive change from the basis, the reasoning, and the objectives, and the positive effects and expectations that we talked about at our last meeting. Minor adjustment, we expect and would ask for approval on August the 4th.
Very good. Thank you, Counselor. Any questions here? Anyone?
I do have a question. It's probably not real relevant, but it just comes to mind. If that 1 acre that has been eliminated from this were to be procured by the city at a later date, and there was some development on that property, could that development be included in the TIF, or would it be too late?
No, it could be included in the TIF. It is in the TIF development area. That particular little spot there are power lines running right over the top of it. The only reason that's even got a small building on it right now is related to some of the previously, it used to be the shelter
Right,
for the
dog shelter.
I doubt anything could be developed underneath it other than a parking lot at this time. And so it's...
Because there are a lot of neighborhoods with power lines running right through them, too. So.
There are, but given the segment where it is as compared to where the neighboring property and Aldi's is, it certainly could be used for various things. But the entryway there, my understanding is with the widening of 54, the entryway there into that shelter area is mandatorily removed by order of the planning and zoning as it relates to that entire rezoning of that property.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be annexed at any time. And any development that's approved there certainly can be included.
Mm-hmm. And how many feet on 54 does it have?
I can get that information for you here shortly. I
It's
don't have it
not-
in front of me, but it's
Couple
It-
hundred?
no, it's
No?
less than that,
Less than
ma'am.
that?
I believe so. But I will
Which
look
makes
at
it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not very, it's a very narrow strip there that likely as Aldi's improves, or they do other improvements and drainage and other issues related to there can be incorporated into that whole development. But I'll get you both the depth off 54 and the frontage on 54.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else? Anyone in the public? If not, we will, that's all of the ordinances we have for first reading. The next would be our municipal orders. We don't have any municipal orders tonight. I might point out that the two documents that we primarily deal with up here are ordinances and municipal orders. And you might wonder what's the difference between those two. Ordinances are laws that affect the public at large. Municipal orders usually are those things that affect the internal affairs of the city. Municipal orders, we don't do but one reading, and we vote on those at one city commission meeting, as opposed to the ordinances, which require two readings before they can be passed, because again, they're a broader scope, gives people an opportunity to learn about them, comment on them before we adopt them as laws of this city. Given we don't have any municipal orders, Commissioners, we will move to the city manager's items. I'll recognize Mr. Parrish. Mr. Parrish.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm asking the Commission consider tonight the following personnel appointment. Michael Sanner, regular, full-time, non-civil service appointment as a police officer effective July 28th.
Do we have a motion for approval?
Motion.
Second.
Second, any questions, comments? Call for the vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Sanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith Wright,
Aye.
Commissioner Glenn,
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley,
Yes.
Mayor Payne.
Yes. Here, I might point out that all employees of this city ultimately are approved by this commission based on the recommendation of the city manager. So the city manager recommends, we approve. With that, we'll go to any additional comments. Mr.
Just
Parrish.
one, Mayor, you recognize Keith Free is here tonight. Tonight is his last night as a city employee at this commission meeting. I expect he'll be in the future as a citizen. He's very involved in the community. People around this community will see a notable difference in this community because of Keith Free. When you look at Baptist-town, when you look at Germantown, when you look at Mechanicsville, and soon to look at Triplet Twist, Keith Free was the visionary. He was a driving force behind it, and he has made a change in the community personally. But more importantly than that, individual families have seen a change in their status. Keith and I have talked about this many times. I've been envious of his position where he can affect individual homes and households with the work that he has done in this community. He's done yeoman work in that area. He's also done tremendous work as a special projects officer. Whenever anything doesn't quite fit in a box, the answer is Keith Free, because he's very effective at everything he does. He's my friend, and I'll miss him.
Well done, Keith. And let me say this to you. On numerous occasions, I've had people come to this city wanting to know where our slums are, and we have no slums in this city. And we have not let our inner city deteriorate. And it's because of all of your efforts and all of the work that you've done that we've been able to maintain this community at its core. And that has been so, so important to this city. I am really surprised if this is your last time that you are here tonight. And I'm rather impressed at your dedication. But no, all joking aside, Keith, you know how we feel about what you've done, and you know you're going to be missed here. But again, you can leave with a great sense of accomplishment because you have done so much for this city. So I also concur with Mr. Parrish. I consider you a friend, and we go back a long way, and I for one, am going to miss you. But again, good luck to you in the future. Commissioners, anybody else? Any comments? Commissioner
I
Glenn.
just want to make one comment. I had the privilege of just sitting through and watching the Triplet Twist development process unfold among Keith and the citizens who were invited as part of that committee. And I'm excited. I'm sad you're leaving, but I know that you and your family will benefit greatly from the change, and I know you'll do great things in the private sector. But Triplet Twist will also be your legacy, because I see that if it's executed correctly, it's going to be a tremendous plan to add another great layer of development and improvement to our community. So thank you for all your hard work on that, because I know how hard you worked. I mean, it was incredible that one person did all the prep work and research that you did. So again, thank you, Keith, and thank your family for putting up with your hours and all the hard work you did. You're a true public servant.
Anyone else?
I-
Commissioner?
Oh, that's all right.
Go ahead, Commissioner Nunley.
Well, Keith, I know that you attack everything with great passion. Your community, your job here, when you were at the hospital, you know, we didn't want to let you go. Everything you've done, your family, your kids' educations, your support of your wife, everything you do so openly and unselfishly, and I commend you as a human being. I just hope you take some time off for yourself for a little while. Yeah.
Commissioner?
Ditto, 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 ditto. I'll miss you, my friend.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Just one thing, Keith. Up and beyond your job, I think you're a great person, and father. I can tell by your kids, your wife. I don't know how we're going to replace you, but I'll miss you too. And you always have a smile on your face. So every time I see you, just light up the room. You're a great guy. So we're going to miss you. Thank you.
One more time, guys. All right. With that, we will move to communications from elected officials. I'll start to my right.
Okay. Keith. We've lost a great citizen in Dr. James Callis. I just wanted to mention that. He was very important on the airport board for years, and he was my doctor since I was 13 until he retired. So we'll miss him. And I just want to send out some condolences to his family. And the Pay It Forward campaign is coming up on the 3rd through the 17th of August. And I don't know if the Boy Scouts can do something, but maybe you can earn another badge by doing a random act of kindness for just anybody. This will be our 4th year for this. And hopefully it'll be bigger than it has the year before. And let's see. And then, Mayor, with the shooting of the military people, I was wondering if the city could lower their flags for a couple of days or something, just to let them know that we are.
Have we lowered our flag? I think we've lowered them. haven't we?
Firehouse had it.
We haven't broadcast to the city to do it when we could lower the city flag, Mayor.
I'd say let's lower all of our flags for the same period of time, Bill, that the country has lowered theirs,
Yes.
the U.S., because I know the White House has ordered the flags down. So for the same period of time, let's take all of ours down also.
Thank
think
you
that's
very
a good
much.
suggestion.
Thank you.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Commissioner Nunley?
I just want to echo Pam's generous remarks about Dr. Callis. He was loved by so many people. My niece, Kristen, is married to his son, Casey, and I'm a good friend of his wife's, Karen. And I know that I know he's had a long illness. He's been under the weather for some time, but he was always had a great sense of humor and was such a wonderful caregiver for so many folks in this community for so many years, and he'll be missed. I know a lot of people in the medical community respect him and look up to him as a mentor. So,
Commissioner Glenn?
Just a couple of things. I had occasion to go on a ride along with OPD, Officer Mike O'Hearn, Heron, and he did a terrific job, as do all our officers. And of course, we had our OPD awards the other night. And again, I want to just say we're so blessed and fortunate that we have, in my opinion, the best police department in America, not just in Kentucky. The other is that I had occasion to ride with the limb management group. They go out and tail the limbs through sanitation. Went out with Duncan and Brian. They did an excellent job. They're very professional. Anytime they interacted with citizens, they did an A+ job. And again, to Wayne Shelton and and Downey Ward, our sanitation department and projects and program are, I think, top flight, the best in Kentucky as well. So I want to thank all our civic servants in the police arena as well as sanitation for the great work they did.
Very good. With that, let's move to the open public forum. If there's anyone in the public that has any comments or would like to address this commission, now's the time to do it. Yes, ma'am.
Terry Greer, 5058 Back Square Drive, apartment 215.
Hold on, ma'am. Tim, would you give her that mic? I think it'll come out. There you go.
Terry Greer, 5058 Back Square Drive, apartment 215, Owensboro. I wanted to be here to congratulate the city on having a bathroom on this floor at the 25 years of the ADA. We didn't quite make it, but I do hope that it's still going to happen. It looks like it's really close. I have other concerns, though, about other people not having fair access to facilities. We have people in our community who are at risk because we do not have an ordinance protecting their right to public facilities. And I'm talking specifically about our trans community. Those folks are at risk because there's not a fairness ordinance. We've been promised that there would be a forum. I'd like to know when that's going to happen. Hopefully it's not going to be another 25 years before they get the right, are protected in their rights to use the proper facilities. Everyone needs to go to the bathroom, and I want those folks protected too.
Very good. Thank you. Bill, the restroom there, we're very close.
The contractor says it's been completed. I've looked at it. It's a very attractive, very nice job, but it requires a state plumbing inspector and the local inspectors to inspect it. He has requested that for tomorrow. Hopefully on Thursday we'll be open it, but we're at the mercy of the state and the inspectors at this point.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else? If not,
Nope, you've got one over here.
we got one. Yes, ma'am. Come up to the podium.
My name is Jennifer Matthews. I live at 1651 West 4th Street, Lee Manor Apartments. I heard you mention a while ago that there's no slums here in Owensboro. I think Lee Manor is this dirty little secret that nobody knows about. Because everybody is afraid to speak up. I have mold in my apartment. I have had to vacate my apartment. I have no home. I'm homeless. I'm living with my neighbor, who is in apartment 423, who also has mold, but does not have mold as bad as I do. I'm extremely sick by it. There are no doctors here that are professional enough that know how to treat it. I'm disabled on a limited income. I have called your office and had the privilege of speaking to Abby. Abby then directed me to Sylvia Coleman. I'm continue to stay in touch with Sylvia to help me with some of these issues. This has been going on for over a year now. It started last year. I've also had the privilege of contacting Joe Sublett. I have some pictures here I would like to share with you. They are of my apartment. Okay, wait a minute. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong pictures. Those are his apartment. When you read the dates on them, the middle number is the month, the first number is the day. So those were shot on July 4th. It shows the condensation of the air conditioner. They have main units on the building, and we have units that are built in the wall, and there's condensation running down the wall, causing the mold. I've gone to the property manager on numerous occasions. I'm aware that Tommy Thompson is owner of this complex, as well as several others through Diversified Management. I've contacted Diversified Management. I've tried to contact Tommy Thompson with no results. Here's pictures of his apartment, the mold as well. And then Mr. Sublett came out on the 14th of July and issued them a notice of violation. Thank God. Thank God I've got this piece of paper that proves that it's real, because I have been intimidated and harassed and threatened by this property manager that if I told anyone that if I did that if I did not cease talking about this and trying to get some help, that I would get evicted. And it got to the point this year, because it wasn't taken care of last year, it got to the point this year when it come back with the vengeance, and I'm so sick that I had no choice. I don't need to be there. I'm getting sicker by the day. I can't get in the Patino shelter. I can't get in Adrian's house. I have nowhere to go. I tried sleeping out of my car, to get away from the mold. And in this heat, it can't be done. I don't know, what to do. The property manager retaliates, lies. I've got recordings. When Mr. Sublett came and examined my apartment, he condemned it. Unlivable, uninhabitable. But because I had already vacated and was staying with my neighbor, then it's not on here, but it's on recording, and I'm sure that he would tell you that.
Ma'am, could I see that document?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind.
You can
Yeah, bring it.
actually have this as a copy for you.
You through, ma'am? Because we've got questions and we need to talk to some people right here about this. Anything else? Commissioner, you want to go ahead?
I just had a question about one of these pictures. It's a gold, and it looks like there's white swirls around these spots. Is that where somebody tried to cover up the mold?
That is the ceiling in his bathroom, where it was so moist that if you put your hand on the ceiling, it would leave a handprint. We poked the holes ourselves to see what was up in there, and the property manager came in along with what she said was the main guy that took care of all the property management for all of Diversified Properties. He come in and stuck his finger in the holes. He said it was moist up there and that there was black mold, and that was their answer to fix it.
Was to seal it with this, looks like
Was to-
plaster or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
to putty it over
Yeah,
and not
and
sand
that
it down,
doesn't
paint it, anything. It's between the walls. And they, the property manager says, wipe it down with bleach and water. Wipe the condensation down. I would spend hours a day, keeping track of it, having to do it. She come in one day last week and, because she said, I know that, you have disability, that you don't have much immunity and, don't need to be around this, and offered to clean it up. Said she had a bucket of water with some Lysol in it. So she wiped the wall down and my furniture down. What you see white there is white mold growing on my furniture.
And then that gets airborne.
And that gets airborne when you stir it up. You breathe in the spores. I've got from my sinuses to my lungs. I've got problems all the way around, and I need help.
Let me, because when you called my office, we tried to get a hold of the owners to find out what's going on here. Bill, have we got somebody here?
There is somebody here.
Would you like to address this commission and her issue? And again, over here, and state your name and
Roger.
My name is Glenn Douglas. I'm the Regional Maintenance Supervisor for the Diversified Management Properties. And I would like to state that we at the office are we were totally unaware of any of this situation until last week. I mean, we're regularly inspected by HUD and REAC every year. And we do our best to provide the best home that we can for these people, for any resident. And as soon as this was brought to my attention about the mold in the one apartment, I personally went and looked at it. The one she was referring to, the other apartment, I was not aware of that until this morning. But there was a spot of mold in her apartment, and I ordered them to clean it up and fix the area. We do feel that was because of the rooms there's just like paths to walk in. It's kind of overstuffed with furniture and things, which I have pictures of that. And we feel that causes the condensation, but as far as the manager's actions, that's the first I've heard of that. We will check into that also.
well, again, you've been cited here.
Yes, sir.
By the code inspector to get this cleaned up. And there's two things that concern me about this. One is the attitude of this manager. Now, this is something that, and Ed, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this before we get off this tonight, because this is the very thing we talked about when we were looking at this landlord ordinance of trying to intimidate people who have a problem and are trying to get it addressed. I tell you, that upsets me to no end.
Yes,
that these people are trying to get their problem solved, and they are being threatened and intimidated. I tell you that we're going to address that later. But the other thing is that concerns me is when we have a problem like this, is there a way for these people to have another residence while this is being fixed? For this lady to have to sleep in her car while this being addressed is just, it's horrendous. I find it hard to believe that Representative Thompson would want that to occur. And I would really hope after tonight that this woman is given a place to live while this is fixed and addressed.
Yes, sir. Now that we're aware of things that we were not aware of, there will be a lot of changes.
I like that. A lot of changes. I really do, because I think the situation she brought up requires a lot of changes. Okay. Give this in.
You can keep that, Mayor.
Can I see it?
You're welcome to keep that.
You're welcome to keep that.
We have a copy, Mayor.
Okay. You got a copy of it? Okay. Commissioner, go ahead.
I had a question. Now, you receive federal subsidy on this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's federally subsidized housing?
Yes, ma'am.
So the taxpayers' money go to federally subsidize the rent for people like her to live in it?
Yes.
And that compounds the issue even more as a taxpayer. I just have to say that.
Well, I'm appreciative tonight because you seem to recognize that we've got some serious issues here that need to be addressed.
Yes.
And what I'm hearing you say that now that you're aware of them, they are going to be addressed.
Most definitely.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, ma'am, that if you're not satisfied, I want to see you back at our next city commission meeting and let us know that this has not been addressed. I hope I don't see you at that commission meeting because I hope they're going to take care of your situation,
Yes, sir.
provide you a place to reside until that apartment can be cleaned. But if that does not occur, I'm going to ask you to come back here.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I've never seen this man. I don't know this man. He's never been in my apartment that I know of.
Well, I would
Nor
suggest
this- nor
before
this
this,
man's
when this
apartment.
meeting is over, that you meet this man.
I don't know him.
Okay, but he's indicated he is going to take care of your problem.
I have
okay?
a card I will give you with my number. Any problems you have, you can call me anytime, and I will help you.
Okay.
I would, if you were in my apartment unannounced, without any notification, I would like a date that you were in there.
I don't have the date with me. I'm the regional maintenance supervisor. We have work orders, and to do a work order, we have to go in the apartment sometimes.
I would like for you to provide me a date because I've had things stolen from my
Ma'am,
apartment.
why don't you, because we've got others up here that have questions, why don't you, if you have things you want him to do, you could meet with him after this meeting, but I want to recognize Mayor Pro Tem.
A question for you. What will you do with her tonight as you're fixing her apartment? Where is she going to go?
I have no idea. I mean, right now, I'm surprised by all this. I'm caught off guard. I thought there was a small problem with mold that was taken care of, so I'm just like surprised. I'm
Ma'am, now
not aware of
you're
any of
staying
this.
with him
I'm
tonight,
staying, I've had to vacate my apartment,
and you're staying with him?
and I'm staying with my neighbor, but my neighbor also has mold.
He's got mold too, so we got two with mold and one that's really
And there's
sick.
more than that in the building. There are more people, but they're afraid to speak up. They would be here right now, but they have confided in me, but I have promised that I wouldn't reveal them because they're afraid of getting evicted and being
All right,
homeless,
I
so
see
they
something
won't
right
speak up.
Ma'am, I tell you, this probably is not going to get resolved tonight. Bill, we need to get this code enforcement officer to meet with this lady and also meet with all the residents in that apartment complex that are having problems. And we need a staff report back to this commission on what you find out about what's going on there.
Will do, Mayor.
I would hope that you're going to be able to continue to stay with him until these owners can get this thing resolved and get it resolved quickly.
Yes, sir.
I would hope we're talking about like in the next day or two.
Yes, sir. I'll start as soon as I leave here.
Okay. All right. Two things here. I want to see you at the next city commission meeting. If you're not satisfied with the response you're going to get between now and them,
Yes, sir.
then, Bill, I want to know what's going on there. Commissioner Pam Smith-Wright.
The thing that bothers me is, and she has said it before you got to me, is that if you've got mold one place, it's a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that Lee Manor has more elderly people living there with immune systems and things that may not be all they should be to handle that, it truly bothers me. I know some people who live there, and I know people who are like 93 years old that live there.
Mm.
And so I think that I think that you all should inspect each and every one of those apartments,
Mm-hmm.
not just the ones that's visibly showing the mode, but they all should be inspected, because if not, we're going to have more than just this lady out on the street. We're going to have a whole lot of people sick. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, Commissioner, that's why I think staff needs to meet with all of the people out there in this complex to find out the extent of this problem. And ma'am, tell me your name again.
Jennifer Matthews.
Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer, let me tell you, I want to commend you for coming forward and addressing this problem, because you're doing that on behalf of all of those people out there
Yes,
that
sir.
are timid. And thank you
You're
for
welcome.
your courage to come forward to do this. So,
And thank you.
anything else, Ms. Commissioner? Commissioner
I
Glenn.
just want to add one quick comment, and that is, when the staff meets with them, besides addressing the problem, because mold, depending on the degree and severity of the mold damage to these apartments, I think it's important we get an answer as to where they're going to place these people, because you can't just necessarily, depending on the magnitude of the problem, you can't just automatically clean it up in one day.
Right.
And it's not fair to them. When you told me, that just broke my heart when you told me that you were looking at the Patino shelter and all that, because if you're a legally bound resident of that complex, there's no reason you should have to even do what you've had to do, including your kind neighbor here, having to live with them. How long, just a quick question, how long have you had to share a domicile with him?
This has been going on for over a year. And for this gentleman to say that he doesn't know, I don't believe that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I would just ask kindly that the staff include where do we put them while the work's being done, because I suspect it's not going to be a one-day walk-in.
I need to go
clean the
somewhere
walls, and then we're good. I think it'll
Away
take several
from the
days.
mold, I have belongings in there.
All right.
I'm disabled. I've had strokes. I can't physically box the things up, move the things myself. And I don't feel that, it's my responsibility. I was told by the manager that it was my responsibility to clean it up. And I want this done professionally. If it's not done professionally, you could infect that whole building in a matter of no time. Every apartment could be affected. The spores could go through the vents and the HVAC system, and everyone could be affected.
And on the other hand, I do want to thank you for at least being here to explain things. I would ask, personally, I'd like your business card as well when you leave. Okay. Thank you. That's all I've got.
Bill, one more thing as you move to look into this. I'd also like to know, given what Jennifer has pointed out to us, is this another reason for us to adopt any additional ordinances or whatever? I'm a little concerned about her being intimidated by bringing this forward.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got laws that deal with that, but that concerns me. All right. Anyone else up here on this commission have any questions about this? Okay.
I have one
yes, ma'am.
statement, too, and then I'll finish. You've done a big favor for your tenants in that building by coming forward. I would venture to say you've done a big favor for the owner, because when you hear the word mold, that is a real estate owner's worst nightmare. And the more it lingers, the worse it gets. So every day does count, especially in this kind of damp weather. So I'm sure you're anxious to get started.
Gentlemen, did you have a comment? You had your hand up there for a minute.
Yes, sir. I'm William Harrison. I live at 1651 West 4th Street, apartment 423. She has touted against me. Last year, I went to the VA clinic out there, and I had to go meet with her. And she told me, my counselor out there told me I need somebody with me when I talked to her. And she wouldn't let her in or another person in because she lived there. And she told me she'd give me 17 days to get out, and she'd give me my deposit back.
She tried to make a deal with us last year before REACT came.
Before REACT came, and REACT she never went even went REACT in our apartments. We didn't even see REACT.
Okay, we're going to get to the bottom of this, and
Thank you, sir.
we're
We
going to
need
get you. We're going to get you some relief. So, Bill, you've got the ball, and we'll get a report back to this commission. Gentlemen, again, thank you for coming tonight. I do appreciate you showing up. Okay.
Is it okay, Bob?
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other issues to be
you
brought
can't.
before this commission? Anyone? If not, Commissioners, we will consider a closed session under KRS 61.810 to discuss proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of the public agency. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
Motion.
Second.
Second. Call the roll.
Commissioner Smith Wright?
Aye.
Commissioner Glenn?
Yes.
Commissioner Nunley?
Yes.
Mayor Payne?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Sanders?
Yes.
We will go in closed session. I don't expect any action other than to adjourn when we come out. Thank you all.